So, I've got a secret. I don't really like to read. I know what you're thinking. You're a grad student, you're also a nurse. What do you mean you don't like to read? Truthfully, reading a book is kind of boring to me. Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of reading a good book where you're just completely immersed in the book and you're turning pages. But honestly, that's just not me right now. For someone with limited time, I simply just don't have the discipline and the patience to sit for hours to read. What I do love is the convenience of my phone. As much as I would rather not depend on my phone, it has become an intrinsic part of my world. There's a term that I learned recently, and it's called doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is when you open Instagram or TikTok and you're just mindlessly scrolling from post to post with no end in sight. And before you know it, it's been 40 minutes and you wasted all this time. That is called doom scrolling, and honestly, it sounds terrible. But at the same time, we kind of have to rely on our phones. Our phones keep us connected to our friends and families, and it keeps us connected to the world around us. Just like Spider-Man once said, with great power comes great responsibility. So this year, I plan to use my phone for all the potential greatness it can bring. So without further ado, here are all the great apps I found recently that can not only keep us productive, but also make us smarter. So I'm going to dive straight into my favorite app at the moment, and full disclaimer, this one I actually paid for, but it's really because I think it's actually worth it. Formerly known as Lucid, Imprint is an app that's based on visual guidance on the world's most important knowledge. There is essential topics in psychology, philosophy, history, leadership, science, technology, whatever it is that you're interested in. The way Imprint works is it breaks down really complex concepts and theories into a visual guide that's easier to understand. When you first download the app, it will ask you what kind of concept or ideas that you are interested and would like to learn about. When I first got the app and I didn't pay for it yet, I could get access into the first chapter of most books. But then the topics are so interesting and the visual guidance makes it so easy to understand that you actually want to keep reading. Some of my favorite books that I have finished are Ikigai by Hector Garcia and Francis Morales, and Mindfulness by Denny Penman and Mark Williams. And it pays tribute to each author, so by the end of the book, if you actually want to read the real book, you can go ahead and pick yourself a copy and then you can really go ham at it. The app will cost me about, I think, $8 a month for the subscription, but I do think this is a worthwhile app to pay for. It does have a lot of value in my eye, and I'm really excited to learn a lot more intricate concepts and knowledge around the world. This next app is perfect for you if, like me, you also set your New Year's resolution intention to be more focused and mindful. And actually, I will link my video on how I plan to achieve my New Year's resolution goals up here. But the app is called Elevate. Elevate is a great app meant to stimulate and work out your brain. It's got games and activities like punctuation and grammar, and sometimes there's even math. I currently only use the free version, but honestly, I think that is more than enough because it gives you 3 free games to play a day. The games are usually pretty fun and it only takes a few minutes out of your day. I think any apps that teach you things and also entertain you is always a plus. The next app is kind of on the same token as Elevate, but it's a little different, and it's called Impulse. Impulse is an app that helps to create personalized workout plans to help train different parts of the brain, focused in memory, attention, concentration, mental health, problem solving, creativity, things like that. The games that they have are more along the lines of like Sudoku and chess, so it's really going to stimulate your brain and make you think outside of the box to solve a problem. So I've been doing these games basically every day in the morning as part of my morning routine, and I feel like it just kind of jolts your brain to wake up a little bit and gets you ready for the day. Full disclaimer, I did not pay for the app, so in between games there is a commercial that you have to wait through. So I think that is the only aspect about Impulse that I don't really like, but it does make sense. The next app is probably one of my favorite, and there is lots of app that does this, and those are podcasts. I currently have an Apple phone, so I just use the Apple Podcast, and it gives you access to all these amazing podcasts all over the world. I'm going to share a few of my favorites at the moment. For finance, I love to listen to The Best One Yet. For true crime and murder investigations, I love the My Favorite Murder app. For science and kind of just interesting facts, I love the Ologies with Ali Ward. For anything medical, I love the This Podcast Will Kill You. Not gonna go into details of why I love these 4 podcasts specifically, but anytime that I want to have something on, whether I am driving or doing chores, I would just put these podcasts on and I can just listen and I would just learn things. The last tip is kind of a bonus tip because it doesn't really have to do with specific apps. Instead, it's about how you organize your home screen. I learned that if your home screen is cluttered with all the addictive apps right in the beginning, then you're going to be distracted every time you look at your phone. So instead, I put the most productive apps front and center, so right when I open my phone, I will see it and I can go to it, and everything else that is just for fun and leisure will be in the back. What this does is I have to physically search for Instagram or TikTok in order to access them. I think aside from being selective with your app use, this is probably the best way to make sure that you don't fall into the prey of doom scrolling. So for now, my phone is organized into the weather at the top left. I've got my podcast as well as my notes app, which that's where I do all my notes for my videos, and then my Spotify if I wanted to turn on music, and then underneath that I have my to-do list so I can always see right away what is it that I need to do. And then on the bottom is my most used apps, and it is categorized into my finance, my video production, directions and things for work, and then email at the very right. And then on the bottom of that are the apps that I use most frequently. Flow is what I use to track my cycle and my ovulation, which maybe we'll get into a video on that in the future. And then on the bottom, everything else that I need to access very quickly is once again shown on the bottom, and that's my alarm, my camera, my Safari, my message app so I can reply people and then to call people. So while the idea of reading a good book sounds really nice and all, it is just not me. And so for now, my apps will do, and hopefully in the future when I have more time, I will sit down again to read a good book. That's all I've got for you guys, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy the content, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!